service. It is a memorial for our departed Professor Candida, who has been a teacher in this school. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so kind of you to come, and I know Professor Candida Dumas should be so touched to know that you are here today. I am truly sorry for your loss. It won't be easy, but you won't be alone. You always have your memories of her to make you smile. I also want you to know that Professor Kenny will always be in my heart. She was a great person who added so much to every life she touched. Thank you for coming today to support and celebrate the amazing life of Professor Kenny. For those words, I'm going to ask you to stand for the national anthem and followed by the Lord's Prayer. Professor Isabel to lead us in the Lord's Prayer in Portuguese.
Senhor, tua voz me chamou. dei hoje, perdoai-nos as nossas ofensas, assim como nós perdoamos a quem nos tem ofendido. E não nos deixeis cair em tentação, mas livrai-nos do mal. Amém.
Thank you. Before we move on to our program, I would like to take this opportunity also to acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador of Portugal. Welcome, sir. According to our program, sure you all received programs, I'm going to call Mr. G. Kalan to come and address us. Mr. Kalan, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Little did I realize that my life's journey would bring me back to Lusitania for such a sad occasion. It's not been long since I left Lusitania. And how do you cherish memories when you share with a colleague? So on this very sad day for Lusitania and the Portuguese community, please accept my wife's and my deepest heartfelt condolences of the passing away of Candida. May her soul rest in peace in the kingdom of God's heaven. I first met Candida, known to me as Candy, and she lived the name Candy. She was as sweet as you want to be. It was a case of see her, know her, and smell her because she was sweet. That's why she was Candy. When she came to Lusitania as one of the teachers to help the Portuguese department to even grow further, Mrs. Faustino had held the fort for some years, and it was time to give her some assistance. And I thank the Board of Governors for bringing her along. And I expected a lecturer, and she did. She was a lecturer at the University of Zimbabwe for many, many years. And so my expectation was to see a tall woman who stood well over the height of all the students. And I looked for Candy and said, whoa, she was tiny, but don't let size ever mislead you. She was dynamite. She was absolutely full of energy. And she remained at Lusitania department for about 5 years within the Portuguese department, then taking over the library of the school. Yet she continued her loyal, committed, joyous, and bubbly support, not only of the Portuguese department, but all activities of Lusitania Primary School, from athletics to the swimming gala, to all of the Portuguese cultural programs and the school's various academic functions and needs. Candy somehow will always remain in my heart, because she asked for nothing, with no strings attached, and she gave herself totally, without any rewards. Candy was a blue-blooded professional who put Lusitania School before all her needs. She loved her motorbike, and initially she used to ride to school, defying all the chobas, the ETs, Mr. Kalang's driving, and everybody else on the road, just to get to the school. But she realized very quickly that this was not safe. somehow they would not, there was candy on the bike, and they would think, now how is this bike moving on its own? That's how small she was. And so she came once to me and said, Mr. Clan, is it possible for me to be picked up at the flats and then taken back? I don't feel safe. And we accommodated her request. And I must thank Mr. Chamsora wholeheartedly, because she and Candy shared 8 years of to and from Lusitania. Thank you, Smart. It was an unselfish life that you gave to her, your commitment and service. I really appreciate that. So, I'm sure, Smart, you will not forget Candy the way I have not. Finally, I say this to you. Wherever you are, dear Candy, may the Lord bless you, bless your soul, and give you eternal peace of mind in the kingdom of God. You were indeed a blessing for Lusitania. And what little Portuguese I learned in 10 years, I say to you, Candy, obrigada, bom dia. Thank you.
May God go with you as you leave. May God go with you as you leave us. Happy birthday to you. Your little friend loves you. She prays God's blessings follow you always. Happy birthday to you.
The 14 showed that 14 times we sing for us, and that was Candy. I will now call upon Mrs. Faustino. Can you please come and give us the memories? You were the head of the department.
I was used to seeing Candy at embassy functions, and like everyone else, I was mistaken as far as her nationality. In my case, I actually thought she was half Portuguese because she spoke so well. She joined the department in 2012, and since that time we worked together and so developed a special bond. When Candy joined the school, my son said, "You must be very pleased." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, now you have someone at school who is shorter than you." And so it was that Candy and I always used to joke about our height and how we were both short stuff. On occasion, she would stand on a chair to prove a point, because that day she was supposedly taller than everybody else in the department. One might think that being small was a disadvantage, but in Candy's case, it was what made her endearing to us all. She was often stubborn and far from perfect, but despite her faults, we affectionately thought of her as our Candy. She was a caring and gentle person and was often seen comforting children and members of staff. I could always count on her to cheer me up. And on one occasion, when I was feeling low, I rang her, and she immediately invited me over to chat. She referred to spending time together as common time. From speaking to some of the teachers, apparently I wasn't the only one who was the favorite and the special one, but that's how she was. And often I would pick her up to go shopping together. It was quite an experience shopping with Candy. It would usually end up with myself trying to find her, because one minute she was by the fruit section and the next by the toiletries. Afterwards, we would end up at the coffee shop for a much-needed coffee and snack. Candy loved all things Portuguese. She was very much a member of the Portuguese department. She especially loved getting dressed up for Carnaval. Her infectious excitement brought out the child in us, and we planned and plotted our carnival creations. She gleefully submitted while we applied the makeup and the costumes. So over the years, she was the mad scientist, Lusitania pupil, witch, and other disguises. She hated being excluded from any activity within the department, so she even tried Portuguese dancing, making papier-mâché, carnival projects, Easter egg hunts, and she especially enjoyed teaching Portuguese nursery songs to the ECD and infants classes. On birthdays and special events, she would have little songs she sometimes included into the program on the spur of the moment. So we will miss those special moments when we expectantly waited to hear what lyrics she would come up with. Candy and I were usually the first to arrive at school in the morning, and this is when I miss her the most. Candy was much more than my colleague. She was my friend. I will now be reading you a poem which was sent from Portugal. Last year in our department, we had Catarina and Pedro Bernardo as part of the department. and they sent a poem, and I will be reading it in Portuguese, and on the board you will see it in English. Candy, o exemplo de tudo da força, de lutar contra o tempo, exemplo de vida e amor, o agradecer em cada momento, a pressa de viver e aproveitar, que nem nos tropeções a faziam abrandar. Deixa-nos essa mensagem de esperança, de ser adulto com coração puro de criança. Andava enquanto corria, falava quando não tinha voz, e mesmo enquanto morria, ficava mais viva em todos nós.
Candida. I always told her that. She loved the way I said her name. Candida and I first met in the late 80s, 1988 to be precise. She had come to the embassy to obtain a visa because she was going to Portugal to study. She was very, very excited because she had received a bursary from Instituto Camões, and she was going to do some postgraduate studies at the University of Lisbon, where she ended up studying for a full year. Sadly, when she returned to Zimbabwe, we lost touch. She went on with her career and I went on with mine. But I always saw her zooming around in a little motorbike, yellow motorbike with this yellow helmet. She reminded me of a busy. And I always wondered, you know, the helmet almost looked bigger than Candy herself. But she was always, she always stayed to home. And I found out today that the furthest that she ever ventured was to Lusitania. And I think after that, maybe to the Celebration Center, and that's where she stayed. And she wouldn't venture any further. I also see her at the Embassy of Portugal on National Days, where she came with Mrs. Bond, Marina. She was at the university with Candy. And she always came up to me and she always spoke to me in Portuguese. We always spoke to each other in Portuguese. And she was very proud of the fact that she could understand me. Apparently I speak too fast. And she was very proud that she could follow my conversations. Anyway, fast forward some 20 odd years later, and in 2015 I joined the Lusitania family, and who do I find? Candy is here. Candy is teaching at the Portuguese department. And of course our paths crossed again, and we then became firm friends. Every time she knew she was getting a lift from me, she would say, "Today I'm having Candy and Manuela time." She was obviously having Carmen and Manuela, and Carmen and Candy time. She was now having Manuela and Candy time. I was also the person to go to when she had a problem, when she needed some advice, or I later found out when she was scared. Despite the challenges that she faced in life, and they were many, Candida remained positive and faced them with a stubborn determination. Candida had a great sense of humor and a gusto for life. She had an ability to see humor in situations where many of us could not. She was able to laugh at herself too. She used to recount with great glee many stories about some of these funny situations that she found herself in. A famous one of her that she often told me was that when she was in Portugal and she needed to go and buy bread, she was staying with this lady that she called a vozinha, that means granny. And a vozinha referred to this bread that she loved. She referred to it as carcaças. Now, off she went to the baker, and in the best Portuguese, she asked the baker if she could have carcaças. Now, the baker turned around to her and said, "My dear lady, we only sell carcaças in here." She saw the mistake that she made. They ended up laughing together, and they made friends. Candy had a problem with that word, because I often say caraças. And caraças is an interjection of either admiration or frustration. So when I'm upset or something, I'll just say caraças, and I'll say something. And she wanted to imitate me, but again, she said carraças. Now, carraças are ticks. So when she went to the baker, she was asking for ticks, not for bread. Anyway, she saw the funny side of the story, and like this, there were many others. But a vivid recollection that I have of her is when I came here, and I watched my first carnival parade, Carnaval. And Candida had dressed up as Dr. Nefario, the mad scientist. And boy, didn't she look the part? I think she did. Anyway, Candida was also a very gentle and kind soul. She was always willing to help others. She always had a kind word for those in need of one or of consolation. And she was a shoulder to cry on for many of our children. Candida was always eager to help, and she would try her hand at anything, no matter how challenging the task. Sometimes she succeeded, sometimes not so well, but she always tried and she always gave her best. She's going to be greatly missed, but fondly remembered. She may physically have left this world, but she will live in our hearts forever. I would like now to read a poem by Henry Scott Holland. That is nothing at all. I will read it in Portuguese. I will never attempt to read the poem in English. But that poem helped me in the past to face situations like this. And I think it will help me to face the reality that is going to be Candida's absence from our everyday life. A morte não é nada. Eu estou apenas no outro lado. Eu sou eu, tu és tu. Aquilo que éramos um para o outro, continuaremos a ser. Chama-me como sempre me chamastes. Fala-me como sempre me falastes. Não mudes o tom da tua voz, nem faças um ar solene ou triste. Continua a rir daquilo que junto nos fazia rir. Diverte-te, sorri, pensa em mim e reza por mim. Que o meu nome seja pronunciado como sempre foi. Sem qualquer ênfase, sem qualquer sombra. A vida significa o que sempre significou e continua a ser o que sempre for. Porque é que eu, estando longe do teu olhar, estaria longe do teu pensamento? Espero-te. Não estou muito distante, somente do outro lado do caminho. Como vês, tudo está bem.
Take great 6 loads of blood to to share with you some of the valuable lessons they learned from Professor Candy.
As we all remember, Professor Candy really loved people and God. She would treat us all fairly.
And Professor Candy was truly unfailing. She would always be quick to forgive them, and from that to learn forgiveness.
Professor Candy would often sing a song for the prefects who were going to take charge. From that she taught us confidence.
Tolerance. Professor Candy was a very tolerant person. The few times that she taught me, and even me, she never raised her voice or shout as many times when we don't understand the things she taught us. And from there, we learned to be tolerant.
Professor Candy never raised her voice. Like when she taught us, she would never shout. Wisdom. Professor Candy taught us very wise life lessons like tolerance, confidence, and trustworthiness. Commitment. Professor Candy was a very committed woman. One time she fell down and was bad sleeping, but she did not go home to rest. She stayed here to teach all of us. From that we learned to be committed. Professor Candy never judged people. From that we learned to think of other people's needs.
Generosity. Professor Candy was a very generous person. If you're feeling sad or even angry, she was generous and would give you advice.
Mr. Mazi, before I start my speech, I need God to help me. I was speaking to the administrator. He said, please don't preach. So I'm not going to preach, but I'm going to read my speech. First and foremost, I would like to thank the headmaster for giving me the opportunity to talk about candy. I started taking candy home and work in September 2012 up to 5 December 2019. From the first day when the former headmaster, Mr. Kalani, told me that I would be taking candy home to work, I wanted to understand what she liked and disliked, first to make our travel easier. That helped me quite a lot, and also she was able to understand me better as well. What I learned about Candida is forgiveness. Even if you had wronged her, sometimes she would also ask me if she was the one who had caused the misunderstanding. Then I would assure her that it was not her, because people have different views. She would just keep quiet. Candida was a prayer warrior. Whenever she was praying, you could feel the power of the Holy Spirit in her words. Since 2012, when I went for a trip, she would make it a point to pray for me before I depart with the children. Even in my way back from trip, I would advise her, then she would pray for me through the phone. I'm lost for words on how I can describe Candida all and that. She was calling me Mkoma in Shona. She had left an empty space in my life and my family. What I don't forget about Candida is that one day in 2016, I went to pick her as usual. She only said to me, good morning, and she keep quiet up to Masasa here at Engine Garage. I stopped the car and told her that I'm no longer wanted to work, and I am no longer proceeding to school. She looked at me and said, come, let us talk now. What is your problem? So I thought to myself, now she's going to tell me her problem. I said, no, I'm not going to tell you my problem until you tell me your problem. She burst into laughter and we continue our journey to school. The whole day she would look at me and laugh. Candida, I miss you so much. Let me say to Manuela and Cami, Candida loved you so much. Every day she would tell me that if you were not there for her, she did not know what to do and she would never survive it. To Candida family, Candida did so much for us. She loved you despite the fact that you were miles away. She always talked about you. Last term she said to me, I want to go and live with my family now. I can feel that I'm now tired. She said she will speak to her sister. In behalf of the ground staff, we lost our sister. Rest in peace, Sister Candy. You ran a good race. Go well until we meet again. Go well, Candida. I thank you.
Professor Candy will never forget you. You are a kind teacher, a caring teacher, and a loving teacher. You taught us Portuguese with a passion. Thank you. May your dear soul rest in peace.
Everyone know your name and shall recall your story. We love you, Miss Candy. We will miss you, Miss Candy. You were our one and only teacher.
And so you passed away. And although we loved you dearly, A golden heart stopped beating, hard-working hands at rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us He only takes the best. Go well, Candy.
Qualquer amigo que eu precisar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero apenas um vento forte, levando um barco no rumo norte, em um caminho que eu prestar. Quero dividir quando lá chegar. Quero levar um cruzado amigo a qualquer amigo que precisar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero crer abaixo do futuro. Eu quero ter um quintal seguro. Quero meu filho pisar no firme, sentado alto, sorrindo livre. Quero levar o meu gato amigo a qualquer amigo que precisar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero amor decidido a vida, sem ter a força de mal amiga. O meu irmão por sorriso aberto, se ela chorar, quero ser por perto. Quero levar o meu gato amigo a qualquer amigo que precisar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Venha comigo olhar os campos, cantar comigo também no canto. Eu só não quero cantar sozinha, eu quero um coro de passarinhos. Quero levar o meu gato amigo a qualquer amigo que precisar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar. Eu quero ter 1 milhão de amigos e bem mais forte poder cantar.
Good morning, all here present today to honor and remember the dear, gentle Professor Candida Dumas. On behalf of Lusitania Primary School, Candy's home away from home, and our other family, I would like to extend our greatest sympathies once again to her family that survives her, Mrs. Dumas, her sister Monique, her brother Philip, and to her sister Paula that is still in the UK. Our most heartfelt condolences to you. Our thoughts and prayers are with you as we share in the mourning, in our mourning for the loss of Candy. Just on behalf of the family, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all of the staff and the children for every song, every poem, every word, every tune, all the cards. That is most appreciated, and the family extends their thank you to you. I think everybody has felt the love for Professora Candy this morning. So thank you very much, boys and girls, and thank you to the staff. That is it took a lot of courage to speak out loud, because as Mr. Mayor said at the beginning, it is a difficult time. But I am grateful that we've given this tribute to Professora Candy. I'm just going to ask His Excellency the Ambassador from Portugal. He's going to come up and he's just going to say a few words.
Headmaster, President of the Board, members of the Board, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, dear students. When I came here, I always feel intense moments, joyful moments, celebrations moments. Today, a sad moment. I didn't know well Professor Candida. I met her briefly a couple of times. She seems to me very engaged, full of energy, compromised with school, with you in her mission. I didn't know that she spoke so many languages, but I can assure you that she spoke very well, a very poor, limpid, clear Portuguese, and I enjoyed very much that. But what I'd like to say to the school and to all of you is that in the name of all my predecessors, in the name of the Embassy of Portugal, and in my name, we praise what you've done here in Zimbabwe and in the school with care, and in one word, muito obrigado, Candida.
We have said this morning that Professor Candy will live in our hearts forever, and we are going to do something, not today, but next week we'll be doing something to remember her, and so that her name will be remembered at our school. We are going to plant a tree for Professor Candy, and the poem that was read out by Professor Carmen, we are going to have that inscripted, and we're going to have that as a plaque underneath that tree. So we'll be doing that in the coming weeks. We hope that the family will still be here in Zimbabwe to do that with us. But whenever we see that tree and how it grows and how it will overcome adversity, we will think especially of this special lady that's played a big role in our school, in our lives, and we will think about her, and hopefully we will put into practice some of the lessons that she has taught us.
Thank you, Mr. Osod. I'm going to ask everyone to stand, and you are going to sing the song Amazing Grace. Thank you, everyone. Let me once again thank all parents who came today, Board of Trustees, the Candy family. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.